Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleke TV. My name is JIBRIN and this is my angle. We have, as usual, our regular and special guests, Barrister Austin Manta, and a legal practitioner, very senior legal practitioner, and a senior journalist as well, Mr. Segun Onibio. So we shall be talking about some current issues in the polity and that borders several areas of interest, actually. But before then, let me welcome my guests. Barrister, welcome to this show, and Segun.
Thank you very much. It's always my pleasure.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for availing us your time or whatever. So, hold on, please. Sorry. All right. First, let's start with the federal government. Now, we all earlier in the week, we had after the federal National Council of State meeting. The spokesperson, this crazy Ononuga, is it by Ononuga that just talks anyhow without control, came out to talk about, is it, I think, yeah, it was nobody about it. Actually, I gave you the report, but I think Bayo was the one who spoke on behalf of the the council. And he talked about how they were able to trace 83 billion to the sponsor of the protests, the August 1 to 10 protests. And after that, we talked about the Council of States. He talked about the Council of States passing a vote of confidence on the president. And it got me thinking and wondering what the hell actually was that? What the hell is going on here? First, 83 billion. I don't know. I don't know. 83 billion naira is not a chicken change. I don't know where the 83 billion naira was actually spent, what it was spent on. I don't know what I followed the protests. I don't understand how that, I don't know how that came about. Do you think, Barrister, do you think this could be a propaganda? Do you see that as a propaganda? That is one. Secondly, on the Council of States, what is your opinion about our ex-presidents actually coming out to give Tinubu a pass mark in this current situation that we found ourselves?
Thank you very much, JIBRIN. On the issue of 83 billion, which the federal government talked about, I personally will take it with a pinch of salt. I have never had confidence in anything that comes from the federal government or from the security agencies when it relates to issues like protest. As far as I can remember, going back, anytime there's a national protest, the government of the day will blame it on opposition and will blame it on supposed sponsors. This is not the first time, right from as far as you can remember. The only thing the security agencies used to come up because they are desperate to please the person who is there in leadership. They are not going to tell him what he does not want to hear. And what they always want to hear is somebody is after my seat. Somebody wants to overthrow me. So the security agencies will tailor their report to tally with what the president is already having in mind, because that is the way to go along with the powers that be. If you bring something that he does not like, your career and other large issues will not come to you. So I always take this kind of statement with a pinch of salt. You will see, and I bet you here now going forward, you will not find any, or they will not release any details of the supposed 83 billion, in whose account it was found, how it was disbursed, who got the money. Because if you are transferring money from account, it should go to an account. It should be very easy for the security agencies to know who received what and from who. But you will never find any details coming out to the public because they simply do not exist. So these are the kind of propaganda things the government used to do to enable them clamp down on supposed agitators, supposed opposition elements, which they have tagged. They will tag you as an opposition person, as people who are treasoners who want to overthrow the government. They desperately need something to tell the people why we are going after these people. And that is the kind of thing they come up with. 83 billion, for God's sake, who is going to use that money? Is it an aggregation of people that have the 83 billion and they disburse? For God's sake, we are in the country, I'm here. I don't need anybody to pay me any money to come up to demonstrate because of the kind of situation we are in. And the people that came up, are they telling us that, okay, they gave them money to come and protest? That is absolute rubbish. If any money was disbursed, it could only be from the government that gave its own people, its own youth to come and do counter protest. I do not see how you will say, oh, the whole protest against bad governance and hunger was sponsored financially. It makes no sense. It's absolute nonsense. Now, coming to the issue of Council of State, what do you expect? Number one, the Council of State is made up of the state governors, former head of state, former judges of chief justices of Nigeria, the national security advisors. Now, of the 36 state governors, majority are APC governors. You don't expect them to come up and pass a vote of no confidence against their own presidential man. And the Council of States communique is always based on majority. It's possible that one or two people spoke against it or outside, but once there's a majority, that is how the communique.
Okay. So it's about democracy. Even the Council of State, so there's rule of democracy. Okay. I didn't know that.
It's very possible that one or two people will speak against it, but since the majority of the members overwhelmingly say, okay, let's give this man a pass mark, that is what the communique will, or the press release will reflect. Remember, somebody like Obasanjo did not attend the State Council of State meeting, and you know what he has been saying in respect of the government. So you don't expect him to be there and go along with something like this. He did not attend, and the other people that Buhari attended, Jonathan attended, IBB did not attend.
Gowon and Abdusalam attended too.
Abdusalam attended, Jonathan attended, Buhari attended, IBB did not, Obasanjo did not.
Gowon attended.
So, and besides that, I don't even expect anything from the Council of State. If they were to take something otherwise, assuming they said they don't have confidence in the president, that will have far-reaching ramifications, including their own office. It will mean that the government is going to go down, and that will include their own position as governors and others as well. So I don't expect anything other than, okay, we'll pass a vote of confidence on the president because it also affects them.
Honestly, to Shegun, the truth is, this issue of vote of confidence, I thought under normal circumstances, what makes sense is when things are going well in the country and when things are not just going well, but seen to be going well in the country, or at least relatively, let's use that word, relatively going well. That's where this issue of vote of confidence is comes out positive. But in a situation where you have a conspicuous or a clear situation of that has all the evidences riddled all over the place of incompetence, ineptitude, and corruption and failures everywhere. Yet, people comes out to vote that they have confidence in our leader. Does that make sense to you?
All right. Let me start first with the last question. It makes no absolute sense at all. And we have a saying in local parlance, I'm sure you are familiar with the saying, that even now only thief, now sabi trace thief footpaths on top mountain. Look, we are a joke in this country. When a couple of my friends or my colleagues who covered the meeting came back and said they were just busy eating and shaking hands and hugging themselves and talking aside and all that, you know. And one of the editors has jokingly said, if you see the hug, now 1 billion naira hug, you of course know what it means. It means something has transpired at the back. You see, I like the way Barrister put it. You don't expect them to go there and say they don't have confidence in the man. If they go there and they say they don't have confidence in him, my brother, from that night, Nigeria will turn upside down. You know what it means. But the beautiful thing is, we have two very prominent people who refused to attend that meeting, and who have one of them have openly spoken against this administration, and has criticized, not just because he doesn't like the person, because people will tell you he doesn't like Tinubu right from time when Tinubu was a governor. But this is somebody who has been president as a civilian and as a military head of state, who understands how this country thinks and ticks and thinks. You know, this is somebody who knows his onions. Have you watched his interview on the refineries, on the NNPC, on refineries in Nigeria?
Honestly, I've not had the time to do that.
He told them absolutely on that program that those refineries will never work. But you see, people are laughing and saying, about Bele, the warrior. These refineries were built under him. Yeah. He gave an example of how he invited foreigners to come buy over the refinery, and they said it's too small. And aside from that, the equipment that we have, they are obsolete. And I don't understand the reason why we keep thinking what is bad can be made good by pumping money in it. But this is the same government who will go about destroying local refineries, bombing them up, but they can't bomb up terrorists. And they keep fooling us. Look, they've shifted the production date for Port Harcourt refinery again. Yeah. I don't know maybe you've read that. Yeah. They've shifted it again.
Of course.
And that is long after Mele Kyari came and swore that, look, we're not joking here, we're not lying, I'm telling you. Look, that is enough to put the man, to prosecute the man and put him in prison. And the reason why we see some of these things happen is because nobody is punished. Nobody gets punished for misbehaving. Nobody gets punished for lying. Look at the kind of nonsense, reckless statements that was made by, what's this man name now? Who is the minister of, I keep forgetting his name. I think this is Edu. Wali Edu, is it? Wali Edu, who is the minister of solid minerals. You know?
No, solid minerals is Bio now.
No. Bio is a spokesperson. Bio does not hold any ministerial position.
No. Yeah, okay, sorry. Bio, yes. Bio is the spokesperson. There is one Tinubu man that is the solid mineral minister.
Yes, that's the person I'm talking about with the white gray beard.
Okay.
Did you listen to his wrap-up of the Council of State meeting? He was insulting us on TV. He was insulting Nigerians and calling us names and calling us crooks when they are the ones that are thieves. He was practically telling us that we don't have sense and we don't know what we're doing, and people are clapping and looking at him. Nobody could. You know, I told my colleagues in our room where we analyzed some of these videos, I told them, I said, some of you are dumb. I'm not going to sit in a room with a man that I can't ask serious questions. What has he done about the Chinese that are mining our mineral resources and taking them away? What has he done about it under him? What has he done as minister? He's sitting there insulting us, and to cap it all up, they said it was that the protest was all about regime change. My brother, who go take your regime, no go protest. That's the way one take your regime, will not protest.
Yeah.
And you see all this nonsense that they do is because they know Nigerians well. Once they say something, Mr. summed it up well. He summed it up well. They know us. And that's one of the reasons why you see they keep pushing all this nonsense to us. Now, let me go back. Don't let me derail. Let me just go back to what you have said here. I like the fact that the person of Obasanjo has come out to openly tell the government, this is not the direction that Nigeria should be going. Nigeria is collapsing. Our people would say, banana is spoiled, and I see the right. That is what is happening to Nigeria. Whatever it is that Tinubu is doing, whatever vote of confidence that they pass on him, does not stop the fact that there is hunger and there is insecurity. And this government is just playing with policies that they know will not work. They're just toying with different, they have to do that as a backup for whatever it is that he's doing, so that it will seem as if, oh, the past leaders are behind it. Meanwhile, these are the past leaders who messed up this country. Jonathan is sitting there passing vote of confidence. The one is sitting down there passing vote of confidence. After ruining and running this country aground. Buhari that has never attended any state council meeting is sitting there to telling us about a passing vote of confidence. A failure, a colossal failure. Is somebody who ruined this economy and ruined this country. He's sitting down there passing vote of confidence. People who should be in prison. It is sad. It is sad. There's no vote of confidence anywhere, my brother. The fact and the truth is we are not ready. That's one of the reasons why these people can even gather at all. You sit down there and tell us you're passing vote of confidence on a failure. So a colossal failure. He needed all that. And to add to what a barrister said, all that 83 billion, whatever you are hearing there is propaganda, my brother. Now lie. I am telling you here, as in Wike's voice, fake, all fake. They're all lies. What they're looking for is just something to hold on to say, oh, we have to tell them to. I asked some of my friends who were there, the question you should ask, after saying 83 billion was discovered and XYZ, name the banks. If you want to show proof, at least I can see your face here. I know this is JIBRIN. I know that is barrister. Show the face, show their faces, arrest them. Show the bank account, show us. They let us see the 83 billion. Let us see the people you have arrested. Don't do propaganda. And that's what this government is doing. Propaganda, so that people will now say, they don't catch the people who organize them. The people will back down and say, hey, I don't want to enter trouble. You know Nigerians now. Fella sang it. If it was in a song, nobody won't die, nobody won't quench. Yeah. Everybody won't go house. They go say, Mama, their house, children, their house. So whatever it is that you are hearing them saying, the vote of confidence, fake. The 83 billion naira, fake. Whatever it is that this government is doing, fake, all propaganda. What the only thing that stands here is the truth. And that is what we can see that is visible. Hunger and insecurity. And a directionless government. A bunch of, I don't know what the name to put to call them, a bunch of people who are going nowhere. You know how it is in Lagos now. You've lived in Lagos before. You know how it is in Lagos. People go just dress up, come out. They come out. You go see person dress up, wear tie. You know they get where they go. You go enter movie, they go up and down. That's exactly what this government is doing. Whatever it is that they throw at us, we just no, this one is good. Let us test it and see now. Let us wait. Like they are celebrating the inflation, whatever it is that they are describing as inflation, whatever, and they're giving stupid figures. When people can't buy food and people can't feed and people are insecure and people are hungry, my brother, this is absurd. It's absurd.
It is. Honestly,
let me add that, you know, personally, I don't take anything that comes from the government. I don't take it serious. If not that I want to be abreast with public affairs, I would not even tune to that. I would not even listen to it. I would not even read it. But for the fact that I always want to know, have knowledge of, that's the reason. But as soon as I read it, I know that it's absolute rubbish. Anything that comes from them, they don't address the real issue. So I take it, but there are a lot of gullible Nigerians. Because when you are there and you present, there are a lot of supporters of the government as well. When you are there and you present it, it's a means of defense. They say, oh, these people want to overthrow us. They want, and a lot of people are eating from the government, are benefiting from the government. So they are going to fight. And they are going to use somebody as a scapegoat. These are the people who want to overthrow us. So they are going to have to give something like that to tell the people.
Yeah, you're right. And back then, to round this topic up, the thing is, this issue of vote of confidence. I usually, Council of State, I don't care. I don't even attach importance to that. What happened was, why I had to go through the story, what really happened was when I heard that the Council of State passed vote of confidence on the president. I said, what the hell is going on here? So I went to start to find out who were actually those people who attended. I was particular about the former presidents. That was my target. Who are those former presidents who attended? And I saw Goodluck Jonathan there. I saw Buhari there. I saw this guy there. What's his name? Abdul Salam. Saw Gowon there. I said, what the heck? Now, you said it's a democratic setup. The Council of State, they apply democratic rule. Well, even at that, even in the court, you as a lawyer, barrister, usually even at the Supreme, the appeal and the Supreme Courts, there is what we call dissenting voices. And these dissenting voices are made public. They are known. They don't hide under any shadow. And that is what I expect. Let's even assume, okay, overwhelming majority of the National Council of State members, the governors, the ministers, the special advisors, and whatever, excuse me, the ex-this, the ex-that, the judicial officials, retired judicial officials, they overwhelmingly voted for Tinubu. Obviously, there's no doubt we definitely have, even if they are overwhelming, we still have skirmishes of people who actually will be against him. Why wouldn't such people make, after the Council of State, at least that is what they are, unlike the judiciary, where a statement will be put out, an official statement will be put out by the dissenting judge or whatever. But this is a political matter. Why wouldn't an ex-president, for instance, actually, after the National Council of State meeting, address the nation and air his view on the current situation? So, because none of them did that, I just assume, just like what Shegun said, I just assume that all of them are in this together. They all are in this corruption.
Yeah.
Yes, and I believe that they did not just vote. I'm particular about, forget about the minister, the serving minister. Definitely, they will be, just like you noted earlier by Barrister. They dare not go against their boss, otherwise they are fired. That's an automatic thing. But I'm talking about the retired ones. I bet you, so much money or influence or whatever has changed hands, that this vote of confidence did not come on a patriotic. You cannot, even though Gowon that I think is the oldest of all of them, that is as old as that. Honestly, I'm surprised. Honestly, at his age, I expect someone his age to be that is close, getting much closer, that is much closer to the grave than any of them. To be at this point, what does Gowon need in life? What does he need? Nothing. What he doesn't, all he needs is just resting. That's just it, and just counting his days. And that's just it. So why can't he speak up? Anyway, go down, right from time, I've always seen him as someone that is weak, so my point is, honestly, I do not believe that money did not change hands. Either money or a kind of influence, something changed hands. Something made everyone to be in the same, including Gowon and Abdul Salam and other whatever. So they cannot, it is not possible that they are actually seeing as Nigerians, they are seeing and hearing what Nigeria is passing through. How we are in the trenches of poverty and failure in all stratas of society. Yet they came, they supported this crazy vote of confidence. I don't think in their right mind, their right conscience, in their free conscience, they would have done that without any inducement. I'm telling you. So that is my opinion.
Let me add that what you should understand is the Council of State is not a chamber where you go and do back and forth. So the people who, before you go there, you know the topics that are up for discussion. The people who oppose those topics normally don't attend. What they do is they signify their opposition by not attending the Council of State meeting. Remember, Buhari was against the government of Obasanjo, against the government of Jonathan, against the government of Yaradua. In all that time, he never attended even one Council of State meeting. That's the way they show opposition to the government. Now, by Jonathan, by Abdul Salam, by these people going, you saw they are all trying to rally around Tinubu. The people who do not accept, that is IBB and Obasanjo, did not attend, because at their age, they do not see how they will go to that jamboree, something akin to jamboree, and begin to exchange words with these people. So the honorable thing for them is to stay away. But everybody knows, Obasanjo, for instance, everybody knows his views. So they think that is sufficient. At their age, they don't think that, okay, let me go there, become cantakeros, come up and give a press conference attacking. They think it's not in the right way to do. So they just stay away from it.
That is crazy, honestly. Very, very crazy. Anyway, that's it. Moving away from that, let's move to the next, excuse me, to the next topic. The next topic is about National Assembly. In fact, when I heard this, I shook I said, what the hell is going on? Why are these people prioritizing wrong stuff? Can you imagine, for God's sake, criminalizing inability to actually recite national anthem? Who does that? I've never heard anywhere in the world where such thing is criminalized, that you are not able to recite national anthem. Thereby, you will be sentenced to 10 years, for God's sake. That you are not only trying to make it criminal, but also you are even taking it multiple steps further to actually add jail time to the extent of 10 years. 10 years, for God's sake. Or with an option of 5 million naira. You see, they want to send majority of Nigerians to jail. That means Nigerian jail, of course, it does not have the capacity to even take 1/4 of Nigerians. So that's the point. So, Shegun, what do you think about this crazy proposal? I don't know. I think they say it has passed first reading for the first reading in the House of Rep. I'm not sure if I got that right. Am I right?
Yes, you're correct. But we have shut it down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, we have shut it down. Because you see, we've discussed this over and over on this program. The kind of democracy we practice in Nigeria is rubbish, gibberish. It is not something that human beings should be seen practicing. It doesn't make sense. Somebody sits down and says because he is doing wrong and you tell him, "Okay, you are doing wrong," then you will go to jail for 10 years.
Yeah, honestly.
It's a laughable thing. You are not passing any bill to stop illegal miners. You're not passing any bill to have kidnappers and rapists and co and people who loot our national treasury. You're not passing any bill to put them in jail forever or put them down. But you want to put people in jail for telling you, for criticizing you, and even protesting. If you protest, there is an amount you pay. They're even telling you depends on the degree of the protest. I don't know. Sometimes when you hear some of these things that come from the National Assembly, you just sit down and laugh. These are people who should not exist. If I have my way, I will scrap the National Assembly. They are just a bunch of renegades, people who don't have anything doing. When they are done and they are no longer irrelevant in political space, they force themselves into the Senate and the House of Reps, and they hit the gavel and talk rubbish and pass nonsense bills. It's going to get to a point that before you pee in your house, there's going to be a fee. You'll have to report to the government for you to do all that and even eat and exist, because they are senseless. Sit down and pass. You just look at people, and because you're angry that people are demanding that you do right, then you feel the only way to do it, oh, let us pass a bill. Then then people who are representing you will sit down and be saying hi for that nonsensical bill. These are the same people in the National Assembly under Akpabio who were supposed to support a bill for them to buy equipment for our military men to fight insecurity, and they shut it down. They said no. Yeah. But they are passing a bill quickly for one to jail people for criticizing them. We have shut it down. It is down. So I don't even want to talk about it because it's nauseating. that anybody who is in his right thinking mind will think of such a thing. I have been telling some of my colleagues, it is not enough for us to shut such a bill down. It is also good for us to sue the National Assembly. I think we have that right. We sue the Speaker and the members of the National Assembly to court. Let them come and explain why they keep, wherever that nonsense out of the latrine ideas come from. Let us deal with it so that they will stop. If they are there to represent us, they're representing my voice. And that is not my voice. My voice will never be that when I'm doing wrong, somebody cannot tell me that I'm doing wrong. My brother, what kind of country are we running here? Are we even in the jungle? There's law and order. There is a way they think. I don't even think animals think this way. That they will stop other animals from going about to find food. This is wrong. It's absolutely wrong.
It is just unbearing completely. Barrister, do you have a take on that?
Yeah, Nigeria does not cease to amaze me. We have never ceased to be a laughing stock in the world stage, because when you hear this type of things, you laugh, and at the same time you pity our country, because that is supposed to be what is called the National Assembly, representatives of the people. Nobody sent him to propagate that nonsense. In the first place, you do not force patriotism. You do not force nationalism. If the people see their country and are benefiting from their country by themselves, they will become patriotic. You cannot force it down their throats when people are crying, when people are suffering, and you are there boasting that let them be demonstrating, you will be there chopping and laughing, and you want the rest of us to be patriotic. You don't do that. It does not work. It's just nonsense. You cannot force it down our throats. I see that this lady, Aisha Yusuf, she said that she is ready to spend 21 years in jail rather than sing the national anthem. That she would prefer that she should be sent to prison for 21 years rather than sing the national anthem. You cannot compel us to do that. Nigerians will burn the flag because the flag does not mean anything to them.
Yeah.
Nigerians will not sing that national anthem because it does not mean anything to them. And there's nothing you can do. You can sit there in the National Assembly and pass laws that you cannot enforce. It makes noise. It shows the caliber of what we call the National Assembly. And I have said, and somebody has made an assessment that the budget of the National Assembly can be used to fully fund 27 big universities. As between the National Assembly and funding of 27 big universities, I will easily and without thought choose the funding of the universities. Yeah. And I will support the scrapping in a jiffy of that National Assembly. It has no use. Even the military were legislating better than what these people have been doing. And on top of that, they are part of the people looting the treasury from their unconscionable salaries and allowances that they collect. So it doesn't surprise me that they can come up with that kind of nonsense. Where in the world will you want to sentence some 10 years in prison is always reserved for very, very, very serious offenses. And it's without even option of fine. They did not, that fine of 5 million is something else. You can be sentenced to 10 years and also sentenced to 5 million, both of them. So what is the sense? Luckily, unfortunately, due to pressure, the House of Reps have withdrawn, the Speaker has withdrawn that bill, but it's still, the Senate version is still there. Although the two of them cannot, once that one has withdrawn, they cannot go unless it is reintroduced. So we should not rest on our oars. We know these are crazy people. Somebody can still bring it up at this thing, just to curry favor with the powers that be, with the president. That is what I think they want to achieve.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, the truth is, honestly, was it last edition of this show? Shegun was a kind of commending House of Rep when I said the National Assembly is a complete stooge or stooge of is a complete stooge of the president. I think he exonerated House of Rep. Honestly, I don't know why you exonerated House of Rep, because they are the same thing. Because why? The way I assess this National Assembly is by the leadership. Akpabio has been he's been behaving like an area boy. There's no doubt about that. The speaker, who is I've said it before, someone I know one-on-one. We've traveled on the same flight before, lodged in the same hotel before. So we had about 2 or 3 weeks tour sometimes in the past. So it's someone I know one-on-one. He's been cultured by his word, public speeches. But the truth is, his action is just the same thing as that of Akpabio. He's as corrupt, as far as I'm concerned, he's as corrupt as Akpabio. That's just that. He may not be reckless in words, but he's reckless in action, because that is just your vote. Honestly, House of Rep, the Senate, I see them, I lump them in the same boat. That's just the truth. They are just the same thing. They are as corrupt as both of them are as corrupt as the other. So that is just it. I think that is it. Can we move to the next topic? Except someone has something to chip in about this topic. All right, there's none. The next one is another bad situation for Nigeria and Nigerians. Talking about the presidential jet being impounded. What an embarrassment. What a disgrace. What a shame on Nigerians and Nigeria as a nation. For how long shall we continue to take this disgrace from the so-called president Bola Tinubu? He disgraced us in Qatar. He disgraced us in Dubai. He disgraced us in South Africa. Now again, another disgrace, that our president's flight was impounded, was seized. Whoever had that? I don't get it. You see, I've said it before, that the global community does not respect Nigeria's president. They treat Nigeria the current Nigeria president, the way they see him, the way they view him. That's exactly what is happening. Tell me, who could have done this thing to someone like Obasanjo? What crazy country could have done this to someone like Obasanjo? For God's sake. Tinubu, no one respects him because they know he's a criminal, as far as I'm concerned, as far as the world is concerned, as far as his records are concerned. He's a criminal, so nobody respects a criminal. They have dossiers on him. They use that to blackmail him, so they treat him anyhow. What, for God's sake, why would you? I don't get it why Tinubu is rubbishing Nigeria this way. That he traveled to France on official visit to have a meeting with the French president. His plane and 2 others were seized. Although even I heard that they have released it.
You are getting it wrong. He is yet to travel to France. The jets were there for the normal checks. One of them is for configuration. That is the new jet that was bought. We have discussed that for 13 billion. That is one of them. It's there for configuration. So that is the one they have now released for him to use to have his meeting with the French president.
But I read a report somewhere. Initially, that was what I thought. But I read a report somewhere, a very brief report, somewhere, that they said that they have released the jet for him to attend, to meet with the
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Initially, 3 of the jets were impounded. But because he was going to meet with the French president, they released the new one that he bought, the presidential jet that he bought, the new one, which was for configuration, for him to attend the meeting with Macron.
Honestly, I thought it's in France, and because the flight was impounded in a different state that you need to. Okay, all right.
So they were parked in 2 French airports. 2
Yeah.
of them was in one airport, the other one was in the airport. So the court granted an order to impound them based on arbitration proceedings.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
That other one was released to him so that he can use it to attend the meeting with the French president.
Anyway, thank you very much for correcting me. I'm sorry for that omission. A commission rather. Yeah. Yeah, that's quite a blunder. All right. Sorry about that. Anyway, but my point is this. Whichever way it is still a shame that our presidential fleet or flights, excuse me, will be impounded, will be seized, for God's sake, on a foreign land. My own question is, why did the government allow that to get to that level? It was an arbitration issue, or it is an arbitration case. That arbitration case, didn't the government lawyers or the lawyers representing the government, didn't they see this coming? They should be, they were supposed to have a kind of an intelligent report that this thing is coming. You people should have to preempt it. That is the problem we have with this system, this government, the ineptitude and lack of the incompetence of this. The incompetence of this government is just, it's really the loudness is really deafening us. Shegun.
All right. I'm not surprised anyway. If you read the story further, you will realize that the money that was borrowed to purchase these aircrafts was not borrowed directly by the federal government of Nigeria. It was for the federal government of Nigeria through the Ogun State government. And we were jokingly, for the past 2-3 days now, we've been joking that I don't want to identify with any Ogun State person, so that when the Chinese come for their money or come to arrest any Ogun State man, they don't arrest us and say, you are also from Ogun State. Then you start to beg and be begging Barrister Manta to come defend you in court. You see, you look, I don't know if is there any other word that is worse than embarrassing. You know, we are a shameless bunch of people where you have leaders who go about borrowing money. Probably they think this money is free, and they think the people who borrow them this money will not take into account the fact that they are spending this money lavishly. If this government had any sense, if there's anybody in this government that had any sense at all, they will go and look at some of the countries that are borrowing. I think it's Rwanda now. No, not Rwanda. Rwanda is doing well. One of those East African countries, I think 1 or 2 of them, borrowed money from these Chinese people, and the money was used, and they couldn't pay on time. They had to take over some part of their business, like the shipping industry was taken over by the Chinese, and some cities were controlled by the Chinese. You know, and you find a Chinese man flogging a black man on the streets in his own country. It's sad. It is sad. It is embarrassing. Even if we pay the money today, honestly, it is embarrassing because it's on record that we are owing.
Let me correct the point there, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
This issue relates to a contract between Ogun State and a Chinese company called Zhongtang Fengcheng Industrial Investment. In 2007, during the governorship of Benga Daniel, they entered into that contract with the Chinese company to create a free trade zone. And Ogun State gave a 99-year certificate of occupancy to the Chinese company and gave them 22,000 hectares of land. Now, the Chinese company, in reality, all they did was just to fence the area. That is the only thing they did. when Ibikunle Amosun came to power, he now revoked the contract. And that's what triggered the arbitration. The arbitration started since 2016, involving the Chinese company and the Ogun State and the federal government. The federal government was brought in because in 2001, the federal government entered into a trade pact with China to create free trade zones. So Ogun State was acting under that pact. So that is how the federal government came in. The arbitration awarded about $50-something million, damages, interest, legal and arbitration fees, altogether totaling about $71 million. The Chinese company has sought to enforce that in several jurisdictions. It is an ongoing attempt, both in Switzerland and other places. In the US, they have been trying to enforce that by attaching the sovereign assets of Nigeria. Nigerian government have been arguing that our sovereign assets are not subject to attachment. It is something in the realm of public international law, where there has been argument for a long time about sovereign assets being immune from the jurisdiction of other countries. But there came another view that if the sovereign is in the marketplace, if the sovereign is coming into trade, then such trading should not be subject to immunity. So that is where you find the courts now giving, saying that, look, if you are the sovereign, you are supposed to have immunity, but when you go into trade, then you know you have lost that immunity, so your assets are attachable. The U.S. Court of Appeal currently ruled against Nigeria because the Chinese company also attempted to attach some assets of Nigeria in U.S. The Court of Appeal ruled, I think 2 days ago, that the sovereign assets of Nigeria were attachable because it was a commercial transaction. Nigeria is trying to study the judgment of the U.S. Court of Appeal with a view to appealing to the Supreme Court. Now, they have tried it in UK, they have tried it in Switzerland. In France too, the same thing happened. And by coincidence, these jets were there in France in 2 airports, and the French court gave an order for the attachment of those jets. But coming back, it exemplifies the fact that we cannot put our acts together. It exemplifies the fact that things are done here in a lackadaisical approach. When the Chinese come to Nigeria, number one, when they are trying to do contracts with us, they do not allow our courts to have jurisdiction over that contract. It's either they will choose the Chinese court or the Western court, because they know that the West will always have bias against us. If there's judgment, if any commercial transaction of this nature goes to Western court, whether in US or London or Switzerland, you are almost always going to have a judgment against us. Not only that, the drafting of these commercial agreements are not vetted by qualified and competent lawyers, because we should not allow a situation like this. We cannot, Nigerian businessmen cannot go to China, enter into a contract, honestly, and say, okay, we want the jurisdiction of Nigeria, or we want, they will not agree with you. They will not agree with you. The same thing, you go to US now, enter into a contract with a US company and say, no, let's remove it from the jurisdiction of the US court. They will not agree. But they do not trust our judicial system, so they will not allow dispute arising from contracts to be settled by Nigeria. And that puts us automatically at a disadvantage. You remember the other PID issue that nearly bankrupt Nigeria. If not diplomatic and political consideration, that issue that rose up to $14 billion would have bankrupted our country. So this is following in the footsteps of that. Going forward, we should put our acts together. We should become serious. A state which is a federative unit doing an international contract has to liaise with the federal government, has to make sure very qualified and competent lawyers go through every inch of that contract to ascertain where the loopholes are that these foreign companies can use, this foreign government. The Chinese government fully backs their companies that are doing business outside. And I will give you an instance. We had a problem in Nigeria with a company in Dubai. I was involved in the court case. Somebody went to Dubai, bought properties about $5.something million. Then he could not pay. He wanted his money back. They refused to give him the money. They sold the units of the house and refused to refund him the money.
Wow.
And the contract specified that if you want to sue, you sue in Dubai. And the man is here in Nigeria. So we had the problem of having to go to Dubai to go and sue there. You know what the problem is?
Yeah, money.
The traveling, the expenses.
Expenses,
So we decided to try our courts here because we saw a loophole inside the issue. So we went to the court in Abuja and we were able to get judgment for the refund of the money. However, we did not see the assets of the company. It's a big development company in Dubai, the first group. We could not see their assets in Nigeria to attach. So we waited. When one of their executives came to Nigeria, we quickly got him arrested. The national is an Indian national, but he's a top executive in that company. It's a British company. So we got him arrested to intimidate them to come and pay. Do you know what happened? The Indian High Commission, the company is a British company, the British diplomats overrode the country with pressure. The court was inundated with pressure and assault from Minister of Foreign Affairs, from our own government and agencies, until the court had no option than to release that man.
Wow.
And with the release, we have a judgment which we cannot execute because the assets are not here. So we ended up empty-handed. No foreign country would do that. They will protect their citizens who are doing business outside by whatever means. So that is one example. We have to put our house together. We have to put our acts together.
Yeah, thank you so much for that very, very elaborate explanation. Even though, honestly, I was actually I didn't want to go the legal angle. Otherwise, you were the one I was going to ask you for. But I didn't. Honestly, my intention was just to talk about the disgrace, the political angle of it, and that's why I didn't want to go the legal angle of it. So, but anyway. You did that, but I appreciate that at least you've enlightened us on that, and that is good. Thank you so much for that. So yes, the thing is, this thing has been on for forever, actually, where our leaders they don't even, and that is the problem now. That is what Nigerians are facing abroad, because they say charity begins at home. It is they get this impression. Other the global community have this impression of the impression given to them by our leaders, and by that impression, that is what that trickles down to us as Nigerians in diaspora. They don't regard us. The moment you mention Nigeria, they just treat us like bunch of trash. And so that's the problem, because like you noted, our leaders, this didn't start from Bola Tinubu. It's been there for a very long time. Nigerian leaders never fight, never protect Nigerians. They either in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, never protect their own. Wherever they fight, honestly, that is the problem we are facing. Nigerian leadership don't protect the Nigerian business interest. Their personal interest, every kind of interest, honestly, and that's because they personalize everything just to curry favor from the West, from abroad. That is a very, very bad one. And the least, I think, the best word to use here is our leaders are very, very unpatriotic, very unpatriotic. They don't support us. They don't help us. That's just That is just the bottom line. Anyway, thank you so much, Barrister, for that elaborate explanation and the description of the topic we just trashed now. Okay, I think that being said, except someone else have something to chip on this, to chip in on this topic. If there is none,
yes,
go ahead.
I would want to. Yes, thank you very much, Barrister. I was going to come that way, but probably I wouldn't have been able to do justice to it with the way Barrister did justice to it. The truth about the whole matter is money exchanged hands. And from what I hear from the top, heads will roll. Well, whether heads will roll or it will not roll, we'll follow up to see how the story will end. Because how do you sign a 99-year contract and nobody would look at it? And you go ahead and whatever it is, whatever trade you're going to do, you do it under that kind of pact without taking a look at it. And why are we always signing these pacts without having a proper check? Like Barrister said, why don't we have a proper check? It is simply because people just collect whatever it is that is their share and tell you, am I going to be here in the next 10 years? Even if I'm not, let me just collect what I need to get and go.
That's the problem. That's why
that's the reason why we keep putting
that's why I made that statement. So, our Nigerian officials or leaders, they just think about themselves, what they will gain from it. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Yes. They just think about what will go into their mouths and go into their pockets and fill their accounts. Nobody cares about anything. And we have it is easy because we don't have a country that defends the people. If we have a constitution, if we have a leadership, if we have policies, if we have laws that protect Nigerians, I'm not talking about people who do illegal businesses. How can you do a business with somebody and the pact will be signed in the person's interest, and you go ahead and sign such a pact? What kind of donkey business is that? It is crazy. And it is very easy for them to do this kind of business with us because they know we are corrupt. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah, honestly, it's just unfortunate. Honestly, that Nigeria is just where we are now. We are a country that is housing the most intelligent among the most intelligent in the world, the most brilliant in the world, the smartest. We have everything: human capital, natural resources to be among the global superpower, among the global superpowers. Yet we are rated or ranked among the third world countries, not just among even in the third world countries, we are down the line. Down the line. It's so frustrating, honestly, where you have everything you can think of in this life, every good resources you can think of in this life. Nigeria has it in quantum at our disposal, in sufficient, even overwhelming measure. Yet everything about Nigeria is failure. So sad, honestly, so sad. And I don't see how we can actually continue this way. And that is why I've always been saying that we have to do something. We need to do something. Honestly, this issue of trying to manage the situation. You quoted Fela earlier in the show that no one wants to die. I have my mom at home. I have my kids at home. I have my my uncle, my this at home or whatever. So they don't want to. You see, people will keep dying in this kind of state if we keep sustaining this kind of mindset. I am telling you, people will really need to. I understand it is to actually sacrifice. It's difficult. That's where the name sacrifice came from. Sacrifice, of course, is something that is painful, that is unbearable. It's something that is not palatable. It's not something that you desire. Of course, that's why it's called sacrifice. And without that, you wouldn't have the word sacrifice. And as long as the word sacrifice exists, we should imbibe that. We should be ready to die for someone. That is my point here. Nigerians are not ready to die for anyone. That is where we are having. It's about selfishness, not selflessness. We have to get to that point of selflessness. We've had countries where you hear someone, one person out of frustration will just come out, and I'm not advocating for that crazy stuff, actually. Will come out and burn himself alive or whatever. Just pour gasoline on himself. But we have said, that's a great, that one is, I don't expect that. That one is overboard. But what I'm saying, my point is, we should get to a point where we should be ready to die for the future of our children. We should be ready to die for someone. Everything doesn't necessarily have to be about us. It doesn't have to be about us, for God's sake. And it's because it has been about us. That is why Nigeria is where we are today. That's why we are where we are today. It's so unfortunate. Anyway, thank you guys for that take. And that takes us to the last topic of the day. Excuse me. Barrister, Olympics. Nigeria, we spent 12 billion naira on Olympics. And when I read that report, I said, where did this 10 billion naira, where was it actually spent on? What was it spent on? Excuse me. And of course, I asked myself the question and I gave myself the answer. The answer is corruption. This money they didn't spend it on our athletes. They spent it on the bureaucrats from the Ministry of Sports, possibly from presidency, because the kitchen cabinet now, I learned that, I got to understand that during Buhari time, they seem to be interested in virtually everywhere money. They follow the money. Wherever money goes, you see them. Those kitchen cabinet guys, they dip their hands in so many corruptions here and there. So obviously that 12 billion is just it was shared. It was actually moved into private pockets. That's just it. Now, after spending this whopping amount of money, I don't know if I'll call it up. Please, someone should correct me if I'm wrong. If it's precedented, that we have never been to Olympics without winning something, at least winning a medal. It could be bronze, silver, or bronze. A sort of, I don't know if they can anyone, this is unprecedented, right? A situation where we attended Olympics and came back home, zero, no medal at all. Am I right?
I think there were one or two Olympics that we also got 0 medals.
Yeah, but anyway, okay, all right. So this is not unprecedented. Okay, all right. But in other words, however, this 12 billion naira, we spent 12 billion naira, no medals. Barrister, what do you think could be the reason behind this, that our athletes didn't come back home with any form of medal?
You do not have to look for a reason. The reason is self-evident. The Olympics, people who go there prepare 4 years ahead. And the preparation is intense. It is not a fire brigade approach. You don't wake up just and say, we are going to the Olympics. Look at the delegation. We had 82 athletes, but we had 88 officials. So when you look at 82 athletes and 88 officials, you begin to see one of the most corrupt places in Nigeria is the sports ministry and the sports associations. They are among the most corrupt in Nigeria. I had a personal experience. The first African Football Women Championship was organized by the Abacha government, although he died before the championship started. In the Kaduna venue, I was the secretary of the accommodation subcommittee. And we lodged the teams from Egypt, from Zaire, from Nigeria, and one other country. They were lodged in Hamdallah for the duration of the tournament. After 2 or 3 days, we received notice, the accommodation subcommittee received notice that the following day, they were going to throw up our athletes from the hotel because there was no payment, and they will not give them food. So this is a competition that was organized 1 year before, and there was no payment for the hotel, no payment for the feeding of the athletes, and they gave us notice that they are going to remove us from the hotel and not feed us. So everybody started running helter-skelter. So I had knowledge of how we operate in Nigeria. It's deliberate. The people will not do anything until the last moment, and that will force the hands of the government. When this thing happened, everybody started running. Delegations, they called the coordinator, they called minister, everybody, they ran to Aso Rock to meet Abacha. Look, Nigeria is on the verge of being put to shame. This is the issue. In that atmosphere, the man will just sign the money that is brought. No scrutiny of the budget. They will sign so as to avoid shame. The money was signed. They sent these bank ambulance vehicles here in Kaduna with a military escort to go to Abuja and bring the money. And the hotel was paid cash because part of the money was to be taken back. So it is no issue of transfer. You have to pay cash, and the other one that is meant for the big shots will be taken by the ambulance and military escort and taken back to share. So that is the modus of operandi. It is a corruption organized system. The athletes, if you remember, if you read the interview by Mikel Obi, when they were going for 96 Olympics, the football team stayed at the airport from morning to night.
What 96 Olympics was Mikel Obi then? I thought it was kind of one. Not Mikel Obi.
Not 1996. I don't know a particular Olympics. I just read the report yesterday, his interview. They were at the airport from morning to evening, dispute on who should pay for the flight ticket. The player ended up paying the flight ticket. Otherwise, they were not going. There was dispute between the Minister of Sports and NFA and who should pay for the flight ticket. And the players were in the airport from morning till they left by night, and the player paid for that flight. So, and this money had already been released. It's not as if it was not. So it is thoroughly a corrupt system. How do you, this Olympics, everybody knows there are no secrets there. The Nigerian sprinter for 100 meters, for 200 meters, everybody knows her speed. It's already known. This is much. Highest, if she exerts herself, she can add a little. The American sprinter, we know what their time. The Chinese and everybody know. So when you want to compete, you have to put yourself in a position where you are near, where you can win. If you are so low, if these people are clocking to 10 seconds and you know you are clocking 2, there's no need for you to go. Yeah. But that does not happen in Nigeria. They must carry people so that money will be embezzled and chopped. Wow. So that is just the system. Wow. That is how the system operates. How do you carry 82 athletes to an Olympics and not even a bronze?
Honestly.
Was won. And on top of that, you carry 88 officials. So it is just the corruption in Nigeria that will not allow us to, not that we have the talent.
We have, of course, that's what I said
earlier. We have the talent. We have all the talent in whatever field, not just sports, whatever field you can think of. I am just reading an article here. The smartest family in UK is a Nigerian family, Mifadon. In the US, UK, and the smartest boy is a Nigerian. It is on record. The whole family started going to university at the age of 8. I just read the article. Nigerians can excel in any field, but as long as we are not able to put our acts together, we will continue with this shame that we saw in the Olympics.
All right, thank you so much for that. That's so sad, so sad. I didn't know about this. I know the sports ministry is extremely corrupt, but I didn't know it's this extreme. That's the truth. I didn't know that we actually go with unqualified. Yeah, just like it's noted earlier. Yeah, sprinters usually it's not something you are not going to. It's not an. You already know what you are going for as a sprinter. You already know the record of at least as a sprinter. It's easier. It's easy for you to. It's not like football or other games or whatever. Usually, most of these field events, you already have something. You already see. You know what you are up against. A sort of. So if I don't know why we should go with sprinters, for instance, sprinters that are not in the league of actually winning or potential of even winning anything in the track and field events. So that's so sad. I didn't know that the corruption is this deep. That's unfortunate. Shegun, can you do you have a take on that?
Yes, I've been a victim of this before. Probably you don't know, I played volleyball for the national team for 5 years.
Oh, really? Wow.
And yes,
I
represented Nigeria for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And
wow.
I was in the reserve team for Kuja in 2003. Before I got injured and on and off the injury, I had to stay back, study and all that, then do other things and get busy with work before I left. So I'm in a very good place to tell you that.
I didn't know that.
One of the reasons why we fail is because we don't prepare. That is, leave corruption out of it, because corruption is a very big cloud over our heads. Everybody that you see in the sports ministry wants a kobo from whatever you are making. Even if you're making it legitimately, they want a share of it. Where they don't get a share of what you get, they frustrate you. That was what happened to Philly. That was what happened to Obikwelu. That was what happened to, what's this other lady that went to run for Bahrain? We had 2 athletes run for Portugal. You saw what happened in these Olympics. The lady that won gold in hammer throw for America, from the southeast of Nigeria, Chukwuemeka or something, was thrown out of Tokyo, the last edition of the Olympics, because they said she did not come home to compete. We have them abound in America, beating the world bests.
Yeah.
But the Athletic Federation of Nigeria will tell you must come home to compete. When you come home, they pitch you against some small children and tell you it's just for you to compete. That's where they do all their sourcing and they pick the people that they want. You will be so shocked that in those teams, at least I played for a team before where I saw 2 or 3 players who were not qualified to play volleyball for the country or represent the country, who could not even serve, who were part of the 12-man team that went to Cameroon and were thoroughly beaten. Why? Because they felt because we had beaten Cameroon 3-1 and it was going to be easy ride for us. So they took those boys there and they said they should start. For me, for instance, I warmed up. At the end of the day, I told them I can't play. And they said, well, I said I had a back strain. But of course, I understood why I would not play. I'm not going to be part of any shame where anybody is going to pummel me because somebody's son wants to represent the country and he can't even serve. You see, this is a problem. If you look at the team that China brought to these Olympics, we did an analysis of it. Most of them are below 19. They are already training people who would participate in the next 3-4 Olympics. They're already bringing them out. But Nigerians keep parading people who are 40, or probably people who are pretending to be, who are 28, but pretending to be 17 and 20. Bulk of these guys that you see participate in athletics were just picked randomly from school. Some of them who were running in universities abroad were brought in and told to replace the ones who have been working hard in Nigeria. I was with the boxing team in Abuja here, and I was watching some of their sparring moments. And we're talking, I saw the way they were boxing, and I said, are you people not going preparing for the Olympics? They said, yes. I said, now even at the box like this, I can even outbox some of you here if I'm to spare. And they said, oh boy, we never chop since yesterday.
What?
Nobody who chop the box. Yes. You need to come and see the condition under which they sleep under the staircase. There are rooms that are created. Come to the National Stadium here in Abuja. Moshood Abiola Stadium here. There is package A, there is package B. Package A is where you have the tartan track, where they do the athletics and the aerodrome, where they ride where they do the cycling, and they play football. Then package B is for volleyball, basketball, hockey, and everything. Filled with weeds. They would have to cut down the grass for you to even train. And some of these people who are training are makeshift athletes. The other athletes that could compete and win a medal have left because they're not properly taken care of. Mosquito, rats, snake infected environment is where they dump these guys. Some of them sleep on mattresses filled with fleas. You need to see the environment where they sleep. You need to see where they feed. Even the volleyball team that I played for then, if not that we organized Koja then, that was the only time we were able to eat chicken. The remaining times that we were in camp, we always beg people to feed us. All we need to do is just send somebody outside and say, Mr. JIBRIN, and we have not been able to. Bathing soap, as cheap as bathing soap, as cheap as toilet tissue paper. You would have to beg people who come to the camp, when you're now told to address them. That is if the officials permit you. Or for some of us who are very vocal, we just say, we point our hands and they'll tell us you can't talk. And we say, look, even if no one more we talk, let us tell you, we don't have bathing soap, we don't have this, we don't have slippers to even wear. That's when those people, because those things are demoralizing. If you don't encourage your athletes, how do they compete to win? We are champions in Toby Amuson. We are the champion in Oweleke. We are the champion in the girl in long jump. You'll be surprised that 5 of them qualified for the semi-finals, 3 made it to the finals, none of them made bronze. Why? Because they're discouraged. When Oweleke lost in the finals of the 200 meters heat, she would have easily won or probably picked a medal in the 100 meters. They dropped her name. The same thing was done to her in Tokyo. They now, because there was pressure, they now entered her for 200 meters. In 200 meters, she took her hits cleanly, defeating the best, only for her to get to the final and lose. You will be so surprised that no Nigerian official was there to even console her or celebrate with her because she set a record. Bulk of the athletes in what's it called now, long jump, in 100 meters, in 100 meters hurdles, set world records that have been standing for 20 years. They broke those records, only that they could not pick a medal. Now, in rounding up, what has happened to our boxing and our weightlifters? What happened to our boxers? What happened to, in the days of Koyegbachi, Jeremiah Okorodudu, we had the Organ Kid Bassi. The first person who won a medal for Nigeria in boxing, he's late now, set a record. In those days, once you hear that Nigeria is coming to Olympics, you know that they are sure of picking 2 or 3 medals in different categories in boxing. Same thing with weightlifting. You will be so surprised that even in weightlifting, I think they went with 2 people, and the 2 of them fell off from the prelims. In boxing, they went also with 2 boxers because the remaining boxers told them they were not going. They're owing them money, allowances for camping. They're owing them money. They didn't pay them. Those people were feeding on them on their own. One of them even got sick. That had to be admitted by a private person, somebody who likes him, got him admitted and everything. Then when he recovered, he said he wasn't going to be part of that team anymore. He withdrew. All of the boxers withdrew except for 2 that were brought in as an automatic replacement so that they don't have shortage of athletes participating in the competition. The 82 athletes that you heard that Barrister mentioned here, half of them are girlfriends, cronies, family members of those 88 officials. I'm sure you saw what happened to our basketball girls at the Olympics. They got into there were boats that were created where you wave the flag, the Nigerian flag, and then you ride through and everything so that people would party. By the time our basketball girls got there, the boat was filled up already. Filled up by people that were brought in by the government, and they are not athletes, flying the Nigerian flag. Meanwhile, the people who are supposed to be doing that are the athletes themselves. The Nigerian team had to go back to travel almost a whole day. They missed their training and they had to play a match the following day. Look, I don't know. There is something fundamentally wrong with this country. So blessed, yet so cursed.
Honestly, yeah.
Honestly, it is not about the money. Look at the 12 billion that we're talking about now. If you watched the TV, the Minister of Sports was there defending this. And well, he actually admitted that he failed and heads will roll. But my brother, the whole thing is, you inherited a failure. You knew you were not going to. Look, Americans will withdraw you if they know that you're going to go there to disgrace them. Countries are preparing. They don't use 4 years to prepare for Olympics. So you prepare for Olympics 10 years, 20 years ahead and say, okay, look, this is a potential winner. let us nurture this talent so that by the next 2 or 3 Olympics, this person will be winning medals for us. But in Nigeria, no. What we're doing is declining. Nobody look at us anymore as a country to look up to be intimidated when this year. Look at what Botswana did. They knew the guy that won the 100 meters, 200 meters was going to win anyway. So what they did was give him all the support that they needed. Instead of having to go with 5 athletes that will go and fail, they concentrated on him. And he won them gold medal. Either you like it or not, now he's on the list. And it's for Botswana because you don't get to see his name listed. The Nigerian officials are not concerned. Either you win or you don't win. Didn't a minister tell us when the ladies won a gold in a female World Cup and female African Nations Cup? He said it on national TV that we were not expecting to win. Dalong was the one. Solomon Dalong was the one who said it. Say I know expect we will win.
No, wow.
You know, they only went there to participate. So what they do is throw money at problems, but to prepare.
You mean a minister actually said that?
Dalong said it on national TV. We did not expect to win. You know, Dalong is a very blunt person. He said it the way it is. Chioma Ajunwa, when she was talking about the Olympics and the failure, explained her own experience and told Nigerians how she went through the hell to win gold for Nigeria in long jump. It was after she won that they now came around that, our champion, our Nigerian champion, our Amazon. They were now celebrating her. Thank God that she had a job. If she was not a policewoman, I'm sure her career would have finished from there. Because some of those athletes, once you get injured, they abandon you and they go for the next person. And if they can't get the next person, they don't participate, you are replaced. And that is the problem. That is aside corruption. Preparation is one thing that we leave undone. And that's one of the reasons why you cannot go to compete in gymnastics with China. And you go somewhere, somebody can, this guy can somersault, let us take him to participate. You want to compare that person with somebody who's been training since he was two years old? Haba.
So sad, honestly. It's so unfortunate that so many things are actually wrong with Nigeria. Nigeria is just like a human being that has kidney, has liver, has the heart, has the veins, the muscles in the body, the joints in the body. In Nigeria's case, headache, stomach problem, the kidney, everything, all the organs, every organ and joints, all the tissues and the bones, the joints, the organs in the body they are just sick. They're just sick. And some of them, unfortunately, are terminal. And some of them are just manageable. Some of them can be reversed by good governance. That is just where we find ourselves now in Nigeria and as Nigerians. It's so sad. This great country that is supposed to be a true giant or the true giant of Africa has become a laughing stock of Africa, the laughing stock of Africa, where even smaller countries, they make mockery of us. They make jest of us. They laugh at us. That's just it. Countries that used to see us as beacon of help and hope those days. They look up to us for one help or the one assistance or the other. Those countries are now countries where they denigrate our citizens who are in their country, resident in their countries, and they treat them anyhow, including countries we fought for, just like South Africa. Nigerians actually took Nigeria as a nation, and Nigerians, I remember our musicians especially, we stuck our neck for South Africa. Our musicians, I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, we had so many music and musicians that came out with this issue, this songs against the apartheid regime then, sort of. Now today, where is South Africa? Where is Nigeria with South Africa? Of course, they have far gone beyond, far above Africa and Nigeria right now. And not only that, they seem to be to be a kind of their actions seem to be very disdainful towards Nigerians, and that is where we found ourselves. I don't actually blame them. I don't blame anyone for mistreating Nigeria. Honestly, I don't blame anyone, and that is why I remember when sometimes ago someone was I think they said Donald Trump called I don't know what country in Africa he called a shithole country or whatever. And people were furious. How dare you say that? How dare he say that? Blah, 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 blah. I said, look, if he said that, it is the truth. I don't know, those countries are they not shithole country, including Nigeria is a shithole country, as far as I'm concerned. It's a shithole country. Let's call a spade a spade. That is not unpatriotic to actually call a spade a spade. In fact, it is patriotic to call a spade because it is who loves you. It is the person who loves you will tell you that your mouth stinks. A sort of anyone that is romancing your ego or cuddling your ego, that person doesn't love you. That person is just out. It's a psychopath. He was just out to actually milk you and get something out of you and leave. And that's just it. That's the unfortunate situation we have found ourselves as a country and as a people. Honestly, it is so sad. It's so sad. I sit down sometimes, I watch and see and read and hear what is going on. As a Nigerian and as a country, Nigeria, it pains me even more because sometimes I just feel I wish I could do something. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. Sometimes I take it so personal. Honestly, it is so sad. I feel saddened all the time about this situation, especially when you have traveled to other countries and found out. I remember the first time I traveled abroad some years ago, I called this my politician. Okay, I mentioned to one of my friends who contested under vice presidential candidacy with I forgot the name of this party then. That was during that time of proliferation of political parties. Barrister, you would know Abdullahi, Muhammad Abdullahi or whatever. So I called him. I remember I called him. I called him. I said, Your Excellency, because I called him. I just nickname him that. I looked at how things were. Everything was just the country I traveled to them working, everything perfect. I said, for God's sake, you mean our politicians, they travel to countries like this? They visit countries like this, yet they go back home and still continue to pull the country down by their corruption. Continue to amass wealth that are meant for projects, infrastructure. For God's sake, this is honestly, that is why if someone like me, I will always advocate for death penalty for corruption, just as it is done. I think Singapore, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, it should be one of these Asian countries. They have this, I think even China itself. Singapore has it. China has death penalty. Yes, Singapore has it. And Japan, remember, when I traveled to Japan, that was when I found out about that they too have death penalty for corruption. And so, in Nigeria, we expect that in Nigeria too. In fact, in the case of Japan, one of the officials that took us around then, excuse me, in Tokyo, he actually told us that there was a contractor that was prosecuted for his father's crime. The owner of the company already died. The son was in charge of the company, and the son was prosecuted for the sin of the father because the father was no more. So that is what we actually need in Nigeria. Honestly, it is so sad. So sad. Anyway, thank you so much, Barrister. Thank you, Shegun. I don't know if there's no more thing I don't know. Is there anything you want to chip in more to round up? Any of you? No.
Let me say that we have been talking about Nigeria's problems. Whichever topic or angle you come, there's a common denominator: corruption and lack of patriotism. These two things run together. And most of us, just like you expressed, we are worried. We sit up in the night sometimes. What can I do? What can we do? And it's becoming more and more difficult to do something about it.
Honestly.
Because you see the scale of the problem that your heart thinks. You look at it that what can you alone do? What can one person do? And it's becoming more and more difficult to think of a solution to Nigeria's problem because it's just getting from bad to worse. Where will you even start? Are you now going to dissolve the entire government, dissolve the entire army, dissolve the entire police, dissolve all the agencies? Because every one of them is about 90-something% corrupt.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So it's a difficult thing. I sit up in the night, I woke up in the night thinking, what can I do? Or what can we do to just bring sanity to Nigeria? It is something that agitates the mind of a few of us in Nigeria. Because we look at this, we go to foreign countries. I went to Dubai and I saw the orderliness at immigration. If you are not asked to take the next step, you stand where you are until you are asked to take the next step during the immigration. Now, when we came back to Murtala Mohammed Airport, it was bedlam. Everything, everybody, you see somebody with red cap, he says a chief with a walking stick, he will now jump the queue and go and stay in front. It became, we will now say, look, we are just coming from somewhere. Did you even attempt to do this kind of behavior there? But as soon as you land on your own soil, you think there's no more law and order. It is so disgusting.
Yes.
But we always think, what can we do? What can we do? That is the challenge.
Anyway, thank you so much for that take. Honestly, yeah, you just reminded me, and you are very, very correct. Honestly, it's a funny thing, but it can be frustrating. Honestly, you see, Nigeria actually, just like you noted, travel to a different. They're just coming back. They were orderly where they are coming from. All of a sudden, they got to Nigeria, and everything changed. They became something different. Completely, they come back to status quo instead of at least carrying that. That's my point. Carrying that same idea, what you found there, that is good. I always tell people something, we like copying. That's the problem with Nigerians. We are copy people. We like copying too much. Yes, we like copying too much, but the problem is that we always copy the wrong things. We always import the wrong attitude, the wrong behavior, the whole character. We do the wrong things, but do those things that are that are virtuous, that will be beneficial to us, that it will be good for us. We don't copy those things. We come back and continue with the nonsense, the trash that we do.
Yeah.
That's a very painful thing, honestly. So painful.
I'm sure you have heard the joke that somebody went abroad. I don't know where there. He was served sweet, some candy. So he took the candy and tucked the wrapper in his pocket. Why? Because he couldn't find the trash can where he would drop it. So on getting to our airport in Nigeria, the guy just removed the thing and threw it away.
Can you imagine? You can imagine that. Yeah, that is the point. Yeah, that is just, honestly, you see, you can imagine that. You see, I think it just like, I don't know which of you it was. I think it was Shegun who mentioned me. I think it goes beyond just our leaders. Yeah, I understand. Honestly, the bulk of it it behooves our leader. It's on our leaders. There's no doubt about it. But we actually have our own responsibility. We should take responsibilities as well. You can imagine what you just said. And that is and honestly, it is not a joke. It is something a Nigerian can do. I agree with you. It is something a Nigerian can do, honestly. You can imagine you got to Nigeria, you took it from somewhere, put it in your pocket. This is exactly what we do. I drink water driving in the car, and after drinking water, instead of just winding down and throw, I don't do that. You see, I just drop it in the car. So when I get home, I pick it, take it into the house and put it in the trash. Or if I get to the either a gas station or whatever, they have a trash. But that is the norm. And that is the way it should be. But in Nigeria, anything, you just trash anything.
That is because Nigerians have come to believe that to be successful, you have to operate in the environment as the environment is. That is just it. This is the environment. So if you go abroad, when you come here, you operate. If you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. This is the environment here. If you want to go get ahead, you have to operate. And a few people that don't want to operate in that environment, things are awfully difficult for them in this country. If you want to be straight, if you don't want to operate in that environment,
that's another challenge.
Extremely difficult for you to go ahead.
Yes.
So that is what everybody believes. You can step from the plane from UK or from anywhere. You are already here. This is how it is done here. You begin to shunt. You begin to run when there's even no urgency to clear your goods.
Honestly.
So it's just that the environment.
Honestly, anyway, that is just we're just laughing over it, but that thing has destroyed and is still destroying Nigeria, unfortunately. So sad, honestly. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Barrister Austin Manta is a lawyer, a very senior lawyer. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time or who just joined us for the first time, Shegun Onibio is a journalist, a senior journalist. I didn't know, Shegun, that you were, I don't know if you are still a sportsman, to the extent you represented Nigeria for 5 years. Volleyball team, man, that was great. 5 years, no small team representing Nigeria. Anyway, congratulations for that. And thank you for that, for representing us.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, viewers. This is if this is your first time, if you did not know before now, this is JIBRIN Angle, and coming to you on Oweleke TV. Please subscribe to this platform if you have not done so. I bet you you will get what interests you as usual. Thank you very much, and remain blessed, everyone.